Hi, have you ever heard of Anchor? Well, let me tell you about it. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I know for me, Hanna From Atlanta would not exist without Anchor. So why not download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today? But without ado, let's get into the episode of the week. Hi guys, welcome to episode 5 of yours truly, Hannah E. Today I brought another guest on.
Yay! Hello, I'm Clara.
Yes, so Clara and I have known each other since freshman year. We were in math camp together.
Oh my gosh.
So today we are going to do highlights of the week, talk about intersectionality, and also give you guys a recommendation of the week at the end. So first off, how was your week, Clara?
It was really long and really exhausting. But I made it through. We made it through. I think you were telling me, too, that you also had a long week.
Yeah, definitely.
We made it.
Very long week. I had an exam on Monday, and I had so many meetings this week. I had a lot of meetings. And also, a lot of, tough conversations in regards to, different things that were, happening. But it was still good. I think it was still a good week. I think I ended off the week on a high. I, had, my organization had a little mixer thing, so that was really fun to dance to. And then Friday night I went out for drinks with my mentor, and which was really good. We had a great conversation there. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about intersectionality. So if you don't mind, how would you define intersectionality?
Intersectionality to me is basically just the way that everything comes together, I guess. There are so many layers and so many different ways that we can talk about, when we're talking about certain social justice issues, for example, women, or feminism, I think is the most obvious and amazing example of how intersectionality can influences the way that we really perceive these kind of movements. So for me, intersectionality, for feminism, obviously, historically, feminism I think has always been with white women, but obviously now, through time, we've been able to understand that the way that Black women or trans women of color, the way that they lie, on those intersections, it really plays a role in how they're perceived by those feminist movements. Yeah.
I 100% agree. For me, I see intersectionality as multi-layers. So I think we always see a person for face value, but we don't understand that class, our experience, our demographic, where we grew up, those all kind of play a role into our identity. But it also too has to it also deals with a lot of as you guys are aware, on my cover, I'm a Black woman, so I feel I am a woman in the sense in the sense of intersectionality of being a woman, but also to the intersectionality of being a black woman. Right. So there's a lot of multi-layers to both identities, and just navigating and understanding that. And I mean, we had a really amazing conversation in regards to things that took place this week off the mic, but I think it's really fascinating how I think in 2019, and maybe also too in regards to when the whole administration changed, how I think that conversation started to come up, especially I think last year or the year before, when Me Too movement was really picking up, and that was being brought up. And I think a lot of spaces and places are starting to recognize the importance of intersectionality. You do need to have voices of women. You also need to have voices of women of color. Absolutely. Especially in regards to a lot of demand and market actually comes from Black women.
Absolutely.
I think in my sociology class we were talking about hair and how
oh my gosh,
business is a multi-billion-dollar business.
I mean, I'm finna go to the hair store right after this. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I literally was like, that's so funny, because I was like, okay, well,
I need to go pick up some hair.
That's so funny, because I was like, okay, well, I need to, like, do my hair again, because, like, my bangs, like, they're great, love them a lot, but, like, I was like, you know, they need a little, upkeep, so I was like, okay, which wig am I gonna do this week, type of thing,
Who will I be today?
Especially, too, I like to do my hair in regards to, like, leaving it in for at least, like, up to a month, so I, like, don't want to have to, like, deal with it, and I feel like I figured out a system that really works with me in regards to, like, just, like, sewing a wig down and then just starting my day, and it really, like, works for me. Good. Which is great, because I mean, I do miss the times where I'd just, like, take off it and I'd be like, this is self-care
naturally. Yeah.
But, like, there is a lot of intersectionality in that sense, and also too, just, like, I mean, I think as you, like, grow up and as you, like, develop, I think, like, there are a lot of scenarios and situations you get put into where, like, you actually have to, like, not fight, because I wouldn't say, like, you're, like, throwing hands at someone, but, like, you have to have tough conversations with people who also are in, like, the intersectionality of things, like, and it can be hard, because a lot of people, too, don't like to face, you know, confrontation.
No, absolutely, they don't.
And, like, and it's crazy, too, how, like, when you do have to confront someone, how people will also, like, turn it back on you, and it's like, why don't we just accept it, have a conversation, and let it go, you know what I mean?
And that's definitely an issue that I have a lot of with my white friends, because when you do try to have those kinds of conversations, a lot of times, like, I really think the first step to really being able to have a kind of conversation is to be able to actually acknowledge your privilege, and that's unfortunately something that a lot of white people just haven't done yet. And instead of wanting to have those conversations, they just want to push it back, you know, and like, oh, I'm one of the good ones, or, oh, I was just making a joke, or I didn't mean it like that, you know, stuff like that. And they just really try to just push it under the rug, pretend like it, you know,
and
also,
like it
didn't hurt.
And also too, so for reference as well, I'm from Atlanta and you're from Knoxville, so
we both have like
similar
our own heritage though as well. Like, I believe you're from Nigeria and I'm from Haiti originally.
So we also have like an intersectionality like
and
of that too.
I'm curious about that too. Like, did you ever have any issues like trying to, you know, walk the line between being a Nigerian, being an American, being Black? I definitely struggled with that myself.
I definitely struggled with that. So my family came here in regards to education. So like they came here for school and then they stayed as well. And then my parents were up north and then they came to Georgia to like do their master's program. So when I was like, I'm a baby. So for reference, there's like a 12-year gap between me and my older brother, and then like a 14-year gap between me and my older sister. So they kind of saw a little more of like our heritage more than I did because my parents had to work, all that stuff. So I didn't really get to like learn a lot about like my culture. And when I went abroad this past summer, I kind of really wanted to go to Nigeria, and I'm hoping that like maybe next summer I can like take that trip with my mom because I think it's really important for me to find ties to that because I'm an American, you know what I mean? So like I am really accustomed to a lot of American things, but like there are like Nigerian things that like I can remember growing up. Like I remember watching like Nigerian movies. Like I remember like my dad always like playing music in like the house and like it always echoing, and we were always like what the heck, but it was it was like those little moments, you know what I mean? And I think that always like kept me connected, and I never was able to learn the language, which I'm hoping like if I do get to go, I get to like see that experience. And my mom always tells me that if I ever go, she's like, you're never gonna want to come back, which is very true, because when I went to Spain, I was like, am I ready to go back to the US? Because it was like, and it was honestly like an incredible experience, because also intersectionality is so different over there in regards to like always felt safe. Because of the fact that like the Spanish laws, they put the blame on the person, not on you. So like if someone ever was to like assault you or like anything like that, it's on them. So like a lot of like men, so a lot of men would always like catcall, but they would never touch you because they would get like in trouble. But I always felt safe. Like I would come back at like maybe 3 in the morning if I like went out or something and like I could walk home safely. Whereas like I feel like on this campus, that's like another story type of thing. But yeah, I never felt unsafe. I also feel like a lot of things, like people were more curious about me
being a Black woman.
Yeah, than they were about like, oh, like, you know, like the whole like systemicness of like America. But I do wanna learn about my culture, and I think when I go home this Christmas break, me and my mom can kind of have that conversation in regards to like how she was raised. And I'm going on this trip in December with our like leadership program at our university, so I'll be working with immigration. So I really get to learn. So exciting. Yeah, and I'm really excited in regards to the fact that like my parents were immigrants, and they did, and a lot of immigrant parents, they come here to give their kids a better life. Yeah, because they understand like what it's like to live somewhere else and this whole American dream, whatever. So I'm really excited because I think that will kind of start the conversation with my mom in regards to just like hearing her experience, because there's a lot within, I guess my brother and I were talking about this, like within his 25 years, there's a lot that he experienced, and there's a lot like I only saw within the 21 years that I've been alive. So I think like having that conversation and maybe potentially like turning that into a book would be really cool. And also I think it would also like leave like my dad's legacy, all that stuff. So I think it'll like just it'll be good, because I think it'll also facilitate a conversation that my mom and I really haven't had in regards to just like being Nigerian, because I grew up like in a white suburban neighborhood, which is great. Like it was fine. I met some of my like incredible friends from living in that neighborhood, but I also experienced a lot that I didn't, I think, really realize until like coming to UT that like was very like systemic from that. Very problematic. I also think too, like when you're in a very like all like white space, sometimes you can kind of like just assimilate, which is fine, because we all do it. We all code switch, we all assimilate to the spaces that we are, because we all want to feel accepted, we all want to be part of something. I mean, we want to be valued. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure regardless of what you look like, you want to be respected and appreciated. And like I think that's what's important to remember. So yeah, I definitely want to dive into that. I mean, I think I'll have the opportunity hopefully next summer to like go with her and do that before I like come back for my last semester and get my job. But yeah, I do want to know, because I feel like it is a part of my identity. Like I like definitely always will emphasize like I'm African American, not Black American, because I do have that like Nigerian descent in me, and it's important. It's important. It is important.
Yeah, and I think for me, part of my own like journey with coming to like realize my own identity, like because I also, similarly to you, my parents came to the States for education. They also were in the North. My mom moved to New York City from the Queens. And then my dad, so the reason why we're in Knoxville is because my dad actually did his education here. He got his master's degree here. And then so he just decided to live in Knoxville again because he got a job offer. Anyway, so I've always been here. So Knoxville is obviously a really white city. So I've always been in like majority white spaces ever since I moved here. So I lived in Haiti until I was 6, moved to Knoxville. So I've been here ever since. And so when I got here, like it suddenly became so important for me to just like reject every aspect of what it meant to be Haitian. Because like you said, I wanted to assimilate, I wanted to adapt, I wanted friends.
Yes. And especially I think being in those like white spaces, like you want, I think you're always, because I always was very much aware that I was Black, especially like my elementary school.
Girl,
my middle school
was...
Oh, both of them trash. Both of them trash. Also, like, I think it wasn't until high school, I think, like, because I would always talk about things that would happen, like, with my mom. And, like, I remember there was one time in high school, my sophomore year, I was in, like, an honors British English class. And, like, but the teacher wasn't, like, the best. I think she's probably still at this this high school or whatever. But she made a comment, and there was like this African American guy who was like sitting in front of her. She was like, "You could go and be a basketball player," and it's like, and like I remember there was another incident I had with her, and everyone in the class got all A's and B's on an exam, and I failed. And then she went behind my back, and she took me out of honors American English because she didn't feel like I was ready. But she, like, never communicated that to me, type of thing. Yeah, so like
that is not,
and that's
like, and those are the kinds of stories like where people don't understand. Like, so for example, let's pretend like we're ignorant white people, right? And you tell an ignorant white person that story, like they will never understand the small ways that Black people are just like consistently being like
marginalized.
Marginalized, exactly, that's the word.
And it was funny too, because I went and it was funny. Went with my, like, white friend who was very much aware because she always, like, hung out around with a lot of Black people, and she was from Florida.
Okay.
So we went to talk to this professor about the exam, the paper, and I told her, I was like, I feel like you know, that wasn't the right thing for you to do. Like, you shouldn't have gone behind my back, like, type of thing, like, you know, what can I do to improve? And I remember a teacher came and was like, are you okay? If you know me, I'm a very fun, loving person. What am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? And I think those moments, like, now that I'm 21 and, like, I'm in a race and ethnicity class, I think I can, like, acknowledge, like, oh, like, that was a weird experience, you know? And, like, I think it's, like, unless you're put into that space, I think you're never really going to understand. Or maybe on the other side, like, if you know, identify as white and someone calls you out for, like, maybe an ignorant, you know, comment, and you get angry about it instead of just being like, okay, well, like, can we have a conversation about it? I think those can also be moments of, like, oh, like, someone called me, like, racist, and it's like, obviously no one wants to, no one's trying to call anyone racist, you know what I mean? Because it's a big word, it's a lot, but it's also too, like, we all have implicit bias. Like, we all have gone through experiences. We've also all been hurt by different types of people that can trigger little things in our brain that make us think, oh, like, you know what, this person is this. And especially with stereotypes and the media and all this thing, it's like perpetuating this, like, idea of, like, oh, well, she was like mean, she yelled at me, she's a Black woman, so she's angry, and, like, that's what you're gonna identify her as. And it's, why can't we just change the narrative? Why can't you actually have a conversation with me and be like, are you okay? Because 9 times out of 10, the reason why people send disrespectful text messages, are set off, sometimes cuss you out, isn't because of you, it's because of something that they're internally going through. And it's like, how about we start with, instead of saying, like, oh, hey, how are you? Like, just abruptly, how about we, like, actually see, like, hey, how are you? And, like, just check in, because 9 times out of 10, I think I've, like I've really realized this semester with, like, everything that I've gone through, the only way I can, like, bounce back, like, especially the way I've bounced back to, like, how I am now, was only through talking it out. Because I remember, like, constantly just, like, in my head perpetuating, like, no one, like, likes me, or not even, like, no one likes me, but, like, I think I was just, like, perpetuating this idea of, like, I'm not valued, da-da-da-da, but it's, like, now that I'm talking about it, and, like, I've been having, like, interviews with, like, pledges and stuff, they're all like, damn, like, you're so cool, like, damn, and it's, like, literally, we are worst enemies, and it's, that's like, true. Until we face ourselves and go to therapy, we can't, you know, we can't understand, and it's like, if you have a resource there, you should use it while you can, because by the, like, I think it's 25, if you don't change your ideals or, like, how you think, so you're 25, like, by the age of 25, they're set, you know what I mean? Because it's really hard to change. That's why a lot of people in Congress, we can't change. They just, you know, I mean, true. I'm not trying to say they gotta croak, but, like, they gotta croak. Like, so it's just crazy, but continue.
That's a really good point. What was I?
You were talking about, like, your experience in Knoxville and how you had to, like, assimilate and everything.
Yeah. So, like, so trying to find my identity and all that stuff. Like you very so eloquently said, putting myself in those experiences has allowed me to really, like, look back on my childhood and kind of see, wow, you know, my friends didn't actually like me when I was in middle school or in elementary school, right? And being able to claim that and, like, be okay with that, you know, I've been able to really move into a space where I can really love myself more and be like, hey, you know what? this isn't cool.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk to me like that. I mean, living in Knoxville, I also have a ton of white friends, but, like, that doesn't mean that I'm okay.
Any less black.
Exactly. Like, I love my blackness. I revel in my blackness. Like, I consider myself to be fully liberated, you know, and sometimes white people don't really understand what that means, and so they think they can just say whatever they want to me, but that's just not how it works, unfortunately. Not for me, not if you're gonna be my friend. But yeah, so, like, being Haitian, like, just like you, like, I also identify as Haitian American because, like, it's really important that, you know, I own that part of me as much as I can, and, like, and it's really, and I think, like, when we're talking about owning, like, our past heritages, like, I think it has everything to do with, like, the little things, too, because a lot of times people really feel like they can just, like, in order to be, you know, a certain heritage or whatever, like, they have to go out and do all these extravagant things, like going to your homeland, like, obviously that is really, really important. Like, I would love to go back to Haiti as well, too, but, like, sometimes, you know, finding yourself in your culture is really, like, follow an Instagram page or
literally Molly from Insecure.
Yeah, Yvonne Orji is I love her.
That's
oh my god, I love her.
Queen.
I love her. Jesus and Jollof is my.
That is my podcast. I love them. Also, jollof is so good. If you don't know what jollof is, it's a Nigerian dish. Go Google it, because, you know, we have Google. It is so good. Oh my gosh, it is so good.
Yeah, but, like, just finding those people that you can connect to, I think, is really, really important. Like, you don't have to do all these extravagant things to find yourself. Try to learn a language, or try to follow accounts, or just talk to your family members about, you know, your culture.
Yeah, and I think, like, just starting the conversation is important, and, like, that's what I think I'm really excited about going back home. I think going into break is just, like, starting that conversation, because I don't know a lot, like, and I mean, and I would love to know, like, what was the experience like when you were 21, because I think that was around the time when, like, my mom had my sister and all that stuff. So like what was that like, and just kind of figuring out a way to connect to it. And that's why I'm really excited for this trip. Also too, like, the group is super cool, really excited.
To Texas.
Yes, for Texas. Yeah, they're really, really cool people. So I feel like, and we've already had like very good, like, simulating conversation in regards to it.
I know the leader.
Yeah. Caitlin, Lloyd, and Taylor.
Oh my God,
great people.
Awesome.
Love them.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe we'll do a podcast episode.
I totally should.
I don't know how we're gonna make it work, but I think we can.
We just all on your phone.
Yeah, we just I'll just be like, okay, hold your phones, and then I'll just take the audio from them or something. But really I'd love to do that while we're in Texas, because I think like that'd be cool for us to like reflect and like talk about it in like a space that like is audioly. But
have you ever been on an all-break trip?
Nope.
Oh,
so
girl,
it was
you're
my
in for a
first
trip.
time. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's also service, so I think it's gonna be like really cool giving back and just learning.
All breaks are transformational.
They are.
I've done two fall break trips. Oh, girl, it's amazing. It really is amazing. Like, you really wouldn't think that just like 2 days, 3 days of doing service. And how long is your trip gonna be?
Ours is, so we live on the 14th. We leave, so it's Saturday when we leave, and then we'll be there until that Friday. Okay. So it's almost a week.
Oh
yeah.
my God. I'm so excited for you. Like, the community that you build with your group is incredible. The conversations that you have is incredible. Honestly, it's my favorite thing about UT. I think it's my favorite program that UT offers. I'm really glad that they do it. I hope it never. I'm really excited for it.
I'm excited.
Yes.
It's gonna be a good time.
It is gonna be
I think I'm gonna learn a lot about myself. I also think too, like, it'll be really insightful to just understand like what that process is like, because we will never ever have to go through it unless, I guess, maybe someone like burns our social security card. But then again, we have our birth certificate, so I don't think that will actually work. But I think it's fascinating, and I guess that kind of leads us into like the whole conversation in regards to like maybe giving advice on like how to start that conversation with people if you are just wondering like, how do you even understand like intersectionality, you know? How do you understand, I guess, like a Black woman or a white woman or an Asian, you know, Hispanic, Latinx, like woman, man. Yeah, and I think the first thing is like just being open-minded. I think it's like going into like conversations, because you probably like most likely you have a friend who looks like that.
And if you don't, then you need to get one.
Which I would hope, if you are of the age, if you are in college, you have to know someone who looks a certain way. Yeah. You know what I mean? That you can, like, ask questions to. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think it's also, too, like, also understanding that, like, you should never ever ask someone, will you tell me of, like, your trauma? Yeah. You know, in regards Absolutely to things. Not. Especially because, like, some people are not ready. You know Absolutely what I mean? Not. Like, I know for me, like, the, like, workspace that I was in last year, like, I was not ready to talk about that, I think, until this semester. Mm-hmm. And, like, I can look back and, like, split it up and be like, I had a good experience in the sense of, like, working, but like I said in my last episode, I'm not gonna do defamation in regards to, like, who my supervisor was, but like I can also acknowledge that, like, management was not great, you know what I mean? And that's totally fine, because I think those are the experiences that shape you into who you're supposed to be. And I think that's what's beautiful, having the privilege and, like, the ability to go to college and not have to, like, I guess, worry day to day, like, if something's gonna happen, you know what I mean? You have the opportunity to grow in this space. And I do hope, like, I mean, well, there's like 25,000 of us undergrads here or something like that. And I hope that, like, each one of us is, like, allowing the experience to shape and adapt us. But I know that there are some people on this campus who are just going out every weekend, you know, getting lit, getting drunk, and just staying in the same ways that they are. Yeah. But I think what will suck for them is when they're 30, they're going to have that midlife crisis, or they're not going to face something that they went through in college, and then they're going to be like, oh, I have to divorce my wife. I need to buy a car. Right. I need to, like, move out of the country. And it's like, yeah, just acting radical instead of, like, just facing, like, yourself. And I think that's what's scary about, like, facing yourself is, like, you have to acknowledge that, like, you are flawed. You know what I mean? Like, I know. I make mistakes. I know that I probably say things in the heat of the moment sometimes, but, like, I can acknowledge that, and I can also be like, well, I have room to grow. But I also think too, I think it's also understanding that I think as humans, as humanity, that we all deserve to be appreciated and we all deserve respect. And when one of those or both of those are crossed, you can't be surprised when someone snaps at you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because like it's inevitable.
Don't expect me to be nice if you're gonna be racist to me.
Yeah, like, yeah. That's like, I mean, that's a whole nother umbrella. That is a whole other topic. But it's like, it's the same thing. Like, you know, it's in like, I feel like, that's why I just feel like everyone, I wish it was like included in like our curriculum that you must take like a race and ethnicity class or a sociology class, because it's like even if you go into it being like, I know what I believe in, but it's like you're literally listening, like you're always constantly listening to like what is being said, so it makes you still think even if you don't say anything, and that can be beneficial and helpful and allow you to grow and develop into the person that you're supposed to be, because you should be constantly growing. Like, I can recognize that freshman year and sophomore year, Hannah was literally, she was trash. Like, she was just like on some other like BS. She was just looking for too much and not being secured in herself. And I feel like that's what's beautiful about this experience. And I think also acknowledging like my resilience in regards to everything I've been put through. And also too, like, I'm always very thankful because I think me doing orientation really opened this up, because I think I was able to experience like the outside world and like a professional sense, and also like learning how to navigate and also start those conversations with people, because I really don't see, I mean, sometimes I think confrontation is always, there needs to be like a right time and a right place for confrontation. But I also feel like too, like I have no qualms with doing it. Like I have no issues, I guess. I wouldn't even say it's me calling you out. I think it's me just starting a conversation, because I think, why would I rather let a thought just race in my head when I could just say what I need to say and move on with my day? You know what I mean? And I think it's the same thing in regards to like the whole topic that we're saying. And I guess maybe another advice I would give in regards to like starting that conversation in regards to intersectionality is like, have questions, you know what I mean? And even you, like, I would say no question is dumb, you know, like if you're coming from a place of like sincereness and like wanting to learn and understand, I think like the person will understand that, you know what I mean, because you can tell.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like a part of that too though is like, for example, if somebody were to come to me and start asking me questions, stuff like that, like first of all, like we have to have a relationship first, you know. And so sometimes I'm a little wary of people that kind of just come to me just for my knowledge. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Not that I don't want to, you know, offer that kind of advice to people, but that does start to like, that is like emotionally like
taxing,
exactly. And so I think like if you do want to, you know, have those kinds of conversations with people, you have to have a relationship with them first, obviously, right? And then from that relationship, then you can actually start to gain some empathy and then be able to start understanding what it is that they go through. Because like you can't just, you know, see, oh, here's this Black girl, let me go ask her, you know, and then not actually try to relate to it. You can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I also think too, like, I think my personality or just like who I am, I think I'm just like very open book, and also sometimes like I guess super vulnerable from the jump, which
props to you.
Yeah, I mean not super. I'm not like this is my life story and here you go. No, right. I'm more of like I'll basically be like this is who I am, and then maybe like I'll tell them like the shiz that I went through like this whole semester and stuff, and then like I'll kind of like always turn it. I guess I'm very positive. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Because like, but I think it's important to be. Positive. I think it is important to be positive because why would you want to dwell on the negatives? Like if I dwelled on all the like just like systematic like BS that like I think we always go through as like Black women, I'd be so sad. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think like I also think too, I haven't had my heart broken, so I think like I have faith in humanity. But like once that happens, like that will be like the big test of like, is humanity like actually like good, or is it like everyone's like effed up, you know what I mean? But I do feel like being transparent from the beginning leaves no, I guess maybe for me it's like transparency, so you like see where I'm at, you know, and I also like feel the vibe, so I like I definitely like see like what type of person you are. But like if the conversation is just being very like surface level, especially I think because I did live in like, I think you've been to Haiti, like you've been out of the country and like been to other places, like in other foreign countries they don't do this surface level BS that the US does.
How are you? I'm fine. None of that.
They don't. They want to get to know you. Like, and my supervisor, like me and the other intern, like she was telling us about her experience in Spain and how she's an immigrant in Spain. Like she's an architect. She works there, and she's talking about how like she faces like issues in regards to the fact that she's not Catalonian, you know what I mean? She only speaks Spanish, and she'll face those things, and it's just it's just crazy because they just very much like appreciate the interconnection of people, and like you can definitely see that in like European like other countries besides the US. And I don't know if it's because the US is so big that we just don't feel like we are all connected, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then also I feel like different places also are like more advanced than other places, like small towns in Tennessee compared to Knoxville and like Nashville or something like that, or Atlanta. Right. So I think there's a lot of layers, just
there are a lot of layers. And I even think that like even and like kind of like what you're saying with a woman who spoke Catalan only. Yeah. Like even in Europe or even in Africa, like everywhere, like there are always issues of intersectionality. There's always issues of like, well, I might be this thing, but I'm also this. Like, because I was having a conversation the other day with somebody from Ghana, and he was talking about how he wasn't able to get a job because he was from this certain tribe. I don't remember which tribe, but what his tribe is. But because this job that he was trying to get, he was the employer that was trying to hire him was from a certain tribe. He couldn't get a job that way. And like tribalism in general, like that was something that kind of just totally opened my mind to things that I was like, I never had even really considered that even being a thing. And like that was something that I was super ignorant of. Like that's another thing that, I don't really often think of, the way that African relations, the way that they, I don't know.
Yeah, how they do things.
That's another thing too.
No, yeah, and it's just crazy. It is so like multi-layered and just super
multifaceted.
Yes, and it's super fascinating and interesting. And I think I'm also interested to just see how everything goes, like especially in regards to like the entertainment industry. I feel like intersectionality is becoming like a very big precedent. Like so a movie that I saw this week, which I highly encourage y'all to go see. It is literally 5 out of 5. Like it's literally going on my letterbox as like probably top 3 because it's that good. It's called Parasite, and it's basically about a family that kind of like infiltrates another family, and it just I'm not even gonna like, sorry guys, I'm not even gonna like spoil it for you because it's that I need you to go in with like no concept except that, because it is it's Korean. It's a Korean film. Yeah, and like it's just so cool. It's so good. It's like 2.5 hours long, but it's worth it. Like when I tell you, okay. I was in this theater, right?
I see the hearts in your eyes.
It was that good. Like I wrote my little letterbox to record. Oh my god, it was that good. And cool. Like I literally was able to get the meaning after I watched it. Like I realized like what the whole meaning was. And I was watching videos yesterday in regards to like the director talking about like the opening scene and how he came to get everything together, and like I just want to go see it again. Cool. And I think that's what's beautiful about I think Hollywood and the whole media spectrum is it's going in a different direction. And I'm hoping, because the Academy likes to be difficult, because right now like Ava DuVernay like tweeted this week like they're not allowing like an African film to be like entered into the Academy for some reason. Like
see, and that's another thing that blows my mind too, because like Nollywood is like the next biggest industry in like making movies and stuff. I'm just like, why are we why are we stepping on them?
Exactly.
You know, and I think that just really comes into play with just the way that we've been socialized to perceive things that are not white and not American. Like, oh, this is something that's from outside, so it's people immediately think it's lesser than, and it's not gonna be as good. You know?
Yeah. And shoot, like a lot of people were fighting it. I think I'm gonna look it up, but like I want to read it for like the listeners at home and stuff. But like it's, I don't know, I'm very excited, I think, for Hollywood. I mean, I think we are going in a better direction. I mean, I think this summer it was beautiful to like watch like When They See Us. Like that was amazing to see that movie see that limited series on a big streaming platform like Netflix. Also too by my queen Ava DuVernay. I don't think you guys understand. I'm literally I literally was talking about this with like a pledge. Like she has like a studio, and I'm like gonna apply because I freaking love her and like I want to work for her. Like yes.
Ava, hire her.
Yes, please,
Ava,
please.
You're listening, Ava. Hire Hannah.
Yeah. So, but I think I definitely can see that intersectionality is playing a part. And I was watching like an interview with Lupita Nyong'o, and she was talking about how like with like the Time's Up stuff and like you know, and then also too like even the role that she recently just did in regards to like Us and how she had to play 2 different characters. Like she was very much worried, and you know she's a Black woman. Like she acknowledges that, and I think that's like a big thing that you know she has to navigate through as well.
Honestly, I feel like Lupita is like a really great example of like this whole intersectionality thing, because like I'm pretty sure she was like born in Mexico, but she grew up in, where did she grow up?
She grew up in the U.S. Like she came here from.
But then
I'm pretty sure she was born in Mexico City, and then she like her father was teaching, so she was born in Mexico City because her father was teaching, but she was raised in Kenya from the age of 1.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna probably like tonight, since like I probably will stay in tonight, probably will watch 12 Years a Slave. Yeah. Because I actually have never watched it, and I wanna see like, because that was her breakout film actually, so I love to see like where she started to like where she is, because I liked Us. I think she really she did a phenomenal job.
She's such an amazing actress.
She is. She's really good at what she does, and I think she also has. Yale. She did. She's a smart queen.
She's a Yale grad.
She is. She's a amazing queen. I also just feel like too, like I don't know, like, I think it's also the timing of things. Like, you know, she was at the right place, right time.
Right,
and I think these people are also giving her a chance. And I think this also, we can talk about, like, a lot of, like, Black films are starting to come out. Like, Queen and Slim, that's coming out next week, which super excited about. Our own Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
And
I saw the trailer. I was like,
bruh,
this is beautiful.
Bruh.
Like, this is what I need in my life right now.
Oh, it's about to be so good. And
they're
like,
such a good looking couple.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
And there's like this other, I don't remember the name of it, but I saw the trailer for it too, and it was just like a regular romance, regular chick flick movie. And I was like, why do I feel like I've never seen just a regular chick flick with a Black couple?
Issa Rae?
Yes,
it's
Issa, the queen.
What is it called? Yes. The photographer.
Yes.
So that's my Valentine.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I was like, why have I never been exposed to this? Why has nobody made this before? I mean, we know the answer to that, but I'm just like, I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, I think the future is bright for sure.
I think
like,
it is.
With people like you know, with their head in the right space, I think Hollywood has a really good chance.
I think it really does. I really feel like they are starting to realize as well that like honestly,
the economic power of Black people though.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. They need us. Like,
we saw what happened with
Black Panther. Black Panther. Oh my gosh.
We saw it. You know,
we showed up and showed out. Yes. And it literally won an Oscar. Like, what? Like, that's what I mean. And, like, people, they also didn't want to take a chance with that. There was a lot of, like, pushback, like, oh, like, will it sell? Like, da-da-da. And it was like, yes! Like, do you understand the market that, like, Black people hold? Especially, like, I mean, I think our generation, it's going to be really cool as well because we're about to go into, like, the workforce. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see, like, what we can do and, like, what we can change and I think honestly, what we can push forward.
And I think if the Black community themselves, like, ourselves, can really actually understand and, like, tap into like,
our talent,
exactly, because like if we really know, like if we were really able to understand just how much of a role our bills, like our money plays, like we could change the world, you know what I'm saying? Like I really feel like if we used our money as a superpower that it is, I feel like
we could
I feel like
take
movements
over.
Exactly.
No, I think it's also too I mean within the Black community as well. Like it's also starting that conversation because I think there's also a lot of systemic issues within our community.
Within the community, I totally agree.
And especially too, I mean, like we know here at UT the whole like
absolutely
Black UTK versus UT, and it's like that whole debacle. And then Black also too, like
Black UTK. Don't even get me started.
It's okay.
On Black UTK.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, we went to the Kappa probate last night, and it was too good. Like, look, game over.
Yeah, game
period.
Over.
But I was gonna mention in regards to like this week. So I don't know. Do you follow the UT Knox confession page?
I don't.
Okay.
Actually,
So, no, it's okay. Don't do it.
I know.
Honestly,
I scrolled through it and I was like,
when did I follow this? I feel like I followed it in summer, like around the end of summer, and like I feel like when I followed it, it was very wholesome, and now I feel like it's turning.
Definitely not.
It's turning into it's turning into a really interesting space.
Yeah.
I think it's also my friend Carmen, she wrote an article which I'll put in the description.
Oh yeah.
About cancel culture.
Yes.
I feel like that also plays.
What a queen! Shout out
plays
to Carmen.
into like the whole. I guess advice as well is like don't cancel out the conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What did she say? She said Martin Luther King did not end the something with a tweet. It was
like
amazing.
Racism, like all that stuff with the tweet.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah,
amazing.
My queen. She a real queen. Love her too. I gotta bring her on.
She's gonna change the world.
She is. Yeah. And I think it's just like that's another advice is like don't cancel out the conversation if it gets very tense or if it gets very like uncomfortable because and it will make you uncomfortable. I remember when I had to face my own Blackness like and be like okay like why do I think like this? Especially too like I think in regards to even like dating I had to be like I think I had to like be put in a situation where I had to like check myself and be like, is this the person like I want to be with? You know what I mean?
Right.
And like be like, no, like I need to find someone who understands we're on the same level, not someone who's gonna
somebody who's gonna elevate your blackness,
not
who's gonna
disvalue it and be like
try to get rid of it,
or even just state like, you know, that like nothing exists when like there's so much history and so many sociology, so many literally Google.
Honestly, I'm not dating anybody if they've never taken a sociology class.
That's what I'm saying. Or even too like no,
I just don't know.
I mean, you're right. I feel like that's probably why I haven't dated in Knoxville. I mean, we have that.
Do you want to talk about why we haven't dated in Knoxville?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but I think the first one probably is in regards to the fact that like I just won't tolerate a lot of stuff. Like, our standards are really high. Oh, very high. Very high. I said to you, high. I'm not the one to mess with, and I just feel like. Look, I'm a very bubbly, positive, goofy personality, but I literally can snap. Like, yes. And I think everyone has that side of them. Yeah. It's just like
I think mine is a little bit more on the surface.
Yeah. Mine's more like I'm goofy, and then you say something, and I'm like, no, and then I have to like revert, and it's just like also like it doesn't help you keeping it inside because you're just keeping. So much I don't want to say hate, but just so much like anguish and confusion.
You're just nurturing that. You don't want to do that.
And it doesn't
who
does it help?
What does it accomplish? Nothing.
Exactly. No. And that's why I think I'm hoping like the advice that you guys got from this is just like starting the conversation, being open to it, you know, don't cancel it out because I mean, I think we are so flawed. Like as humans, we're only what? If we're in college, we're between 18 to 23, 24 potentially. Like, we don't know what we're doing, you know? But I think this is the space and the opportunity to learn and to grow and to have people or podcasts to listen to like, develop yourself. Like, I listened to Why Won't You Date Me? By Nicole Byer. She's a comedian. Okay. She's a Black comedian. I love her.
Why Won't You Date Me? Okay,
I literally will give it to you because she's my queen. That. She literally just like lives her best life. She like lost her parents when she lost her mom when she was like 18 or 19 and she lost her dad when she was 21 and like she literally like I've been following her career since Girl Code, so like back in high school. Yeah. Girl Code, and like flashback. To see where she is now compared to there, like she has definitely grown and she is definitely like a woman that like I look up to because she goes to therapy. And like there was one episode 2 weeks ago, she was talking about like therapy and how like it definitely helps and like for her and I think for me like I'm like starting to realize like I really do like comedy and I feel like I use comedy a lot to like lighten like situations or whatever. So like she did that as well and like for her to process things she'll use comedy. Like she was talking about how she like went through like a really rough like breakup situation and she like literally kept telling like a certain joke over and over again until like she was like I have to let this go, you know what I mean? And that was her way of like processing it and like also like utilizing therapy and all that stuff and especially if you go to UT like we all have access to it right now. So I think that's like why it's a great opportunity to do. Yeah, but she talked about it and I just think that's what's beautiful about these platforms, you know, about podcasts is like it just is like a space for you to like not even just only understand yourself, but like also too you can take other people's experiences and like listen to it. And we were talking about this too, like content creators being conscious of like of being conscious of what they put out and like of understanding their audience because there is an intersectionality in like that regard too and like honestly really might just you know DM Tiffany Ferg and be like can you please make a whole video about this because like I just it's perpetuating like this lifestyle and I guess to give you guys context like there was a content creator who made a video talking about how she like quit her 9-to-5 job and like she was basically talking about how like she's very overwhelmed, she lost a lot of creativity and like I'm all here, especially if you are an online creator and you're making probably like you're making good money. You're making good money right now. Like, I think this is a good time if you're like, maybe I should like do online creation. Like, this time and going into 2020 is probably like a really good time to like very much dive into that. I think
so too.
Because it's just going to keep growing. But the issue is you're perpetuating a lifestyle that maybe 85%, 90% of your your audience can't do. And the fact that like she posted the video, I unfollowed her, and you might just be like, Hannah, are you envious? And it's like, no, but it's like, I can't take in content like that and be like, yeah, like I can acknowledge like that's great and I'm excited for her, and like you're gonna do great things because like you understand the algorithm, you've been doing this for 8 to 10 years, like that's great. But I think it's important to be conscious of what you put out. Just like this podcast, I'm very conscious of what I say, what I put out, but I'm all here about facilitating a conversation because I think at the end of the day, I think that's what I love about people, and I think that's what I love about movies and storytelling is like we all have a story to tell. You know, we all have something to offer to someone, and I think we're all a part of each other's journeys. Like you're telling me, like the people that we see every day on campus that we run into, like we're a part of their journey too. We see them, and like I mean, I'd be thinking about that a lot. I'll be like, you know what? I don't know you, but I'm a part of your journey, you know? Because you see me and I see you, and maybe my smile could change your perspective on like a black woman, and you could be like, you know what? She was nice.
Not all angry.
Literally, I think there was one time. Literally, there was one time I was like in an elevator, and this girl asked me about my day, and I think I was saying like I was turning it around, like I was being very positive because I think it wasn't going well, but I was turning it around, and then I wished her like a great day, and she wished me a great day, and it's like you could do little things like that, and you know, I think
that plays a part in how you facilitate that conversation.
It does. Right? And I think people have people in their lives that are open to having that conversation. I think it's just taking the risk, and I think just...
It is a risk.
Yeah, I think it is because you never know how people are going to react, but I think it's always important to remember, like, you can only control what's in your control, you know? And that's what my therapist says all the time, and he also says to have the confidence of, like, a mediocre white man.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was when he told me that I was like
mediocre white man.
Yeah, I was like,
I love that.
I know, I love him. He's a great therapist.
Have the confidence of a mediocre white man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but if you think about it and you do it, you know, I mean, you know, over and over again.
Though, like being a liberated black woman.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always very much like, I'm always about like my people at the end of the day. But I also think too, and I think what we do really well is like we can do both. You know what I mean? Type of thing. And I think it's good that we can kind of do that. And I think everyone can. I'm not saying, but I think sometimes not a flaw, but like sometimes I think an issue with like UT, like Black UT is like they only hang out with each other. And like when you graduate and you're in the real world and you have your full-time job, like you got to be able to like
connect with other people
because you also have to build those allies as well.
And that's really another thing too. Like white people will be everywhere, no matter where you go.
Literally.
No matter how much you try to, you know, surround yourself with black people. Like I really don't think like sure you can try to you know keep yourself from white people. Like
have your black girlfriends.
Absolutely.
Have your black girlfriends.
White people will always be here.
Yeah. So you need to be able to like have a civil conversation, even if that means like understanding sports or like I guess maybe music. I like soccer, but like that's it.
I love soccer too.
Yeah,
for sure. But like, and that's the thing. Like, they're like, here I am start defending white people, I guess. But like, they are cool. Like, they are nice people, and like being able to talk to them. Like, I think that's another part of. It is cross cultural, you know. Like when we think of multiculturalism, I think a lot of times, sometimes like within the black community, I really feel like we tend to like stay within because our diaspora is so big. Like for sure, like there is multiculturalism within the black community for sure. But also, it's like multiculturalism on the grand scheme, like that includes Caucasian people, but also like people from everywhere. You know.
And I also think too, I also think too, like globalization is gonna happen. As well.
It's already happening.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, and people are not here for it, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna keep happening, and I think it is important to understand everyone's different cultures. And my fraternity is doing a thing on Monday, which is like courageous. conversation. So we're facilitating like conversations that we need to have. And I think I'll probably go and maybe like speak on this, or maybe I'll have someone speak on this, but like in regards to just like being open to like starting that conversation if you are curious about certain things, because there are people in this organization who are allies or also identify in that space that would not be offended to have that conversation, because they want to see you grow. They want to see you be successful. They don't want you to be stuck in your certain ways. And it is sad, but like when you watch people like perpetuate a cycle or a system, and then you're like we are changing. The times are changing. And it's like, yes, I understand people don't like change. Like, people don't. But here's my thing is, like, if you don't face the situation on the front end, you're going to have trauma that will literally perpetuate the whole entire rest of your life.
From the back end,
And that's why we all have childhood trauma, and we all have to face it. I mean, by using therapy, or also talking about it. You know what I mean? And I think or journaling. Journaling is amazing.
I love journaling.
I literally have like a journal for this year, so it's gonna be beautiful. I think at the end of the next year to like see what I've written. And I think it's also important really too to like write reflection. Not even just bad, but like good moments too.
Bad, everything.
Doodles.
I started journaling when I was in high school, and like every so often I go back and I look back at the things that I was dealing with that I thought was the end of the world. I'm like, wow, I was able to come from that, you know, and then it's really, really amazing.
It is beautiful.
That's how I
realized too, like freshman and sophomore year, Hannah, she was on some other stuff, because I was reading my journal. I was like, I'm so sad about this boy. I was like, girl, it's 3 years later. It literally did not matter. Like, but at the time, it was like,
who is he?
Exactly. Literally, who is he? But it's
him.
fine.
We don't know him.
He was trying to slide into the DMs recently, but
that's nice.
No, it's not.
No. Okay,
yes, because they got a girlfriend. So, but we might not keep that part in. But like, I mean, I guess the whole synopsis conclusion before we get into recommendations is just talk about it. Intersectionality is a thing in our society, and it will always be a thing, and it should be a conversation that we do talk about, because there are so many layers to things. Especially, I think it's going to be really beautiful to see in immigration, on this immigration trip, how intersectionality really does play a role in regards to even becoming a citizen in this country. And a lot of us, born U.S. citizens, don't have to worry about that. But we still have to face intersectionality in certain spaces in certain ways. And I mean, it has all ebbs and flows. That's my little lingo. And that's okay. And I think I'm really excited. I think I'm really, really excited for the film industry. I'm going to constantly talk about Parasite for the rest of the year. Because it was just, you have to go see it. Like, it was that good. But also, too, I think I'm just excited for the entertainment and media industry to see how it changed, how it evolves. And I think also, as we go into 2020, I think it's going to be an exciting new year, new decade. I think people hopefully will step up and have more conversations and, understand that, like, you can change, you just have to want to. Be willing to. And it is hard. It is hard. But you have friends, you have family, you have people. Shoot, like, if you listen to this podcast and you need to talk to me, you can DM me as well, Follow my Instagram.
Shameless plug.
But yeah, like, you can literally have that conversation, because I would rather you have it now when you're young and you're trying to figure out stuff than like when you're 30 and you're like saying some crazy things to your coworker, and then they call you out and you're like,
you lose your job.
Exactly. And then you have to go through HR, and it's a whole shebang. And I just,
you could have just kept your mouth shut.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be really interesting to just also see just how this evolution also goes into regarding dating for me, because I think
Dating
that
is such a topic.
yeah,
Oh
maybe that'll be another topic on too, because and you can come on for that too.
Oh,
yeah, because honestly, it has.
I have so many thoughts.
Oh my god,
dating in Knoxville, so many thoughts.
So many, bruh, so many. But let us get into recommendations for this week. So, what is something that maybe you use this week or you really enjoy using, like on a constant basis?
Well, one podcast that I've been listening to. It's called Triloquy.
Ooh.
I'm Black, obviously, and a classical musician, and this guy Garrett McQueen, he's in Minnesota Public Radio. He's a bassoonist, but now full-time public radio guy. He started a podcast talking about what it means to talk about intersectionality, like being Black in classical music.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a really big topic. It's really close to my heart. It's something that I really see myself doing for the rest of my life, pursuing, classical music, obviously, and like, all that stuff. And yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. There's a ton of stories, people that he's interviewing. It's incredible.
Oh,
Triloquy. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. You guys have to check that out because,
dope.
You're probably listening on Spotify or any
Yeah.
podcast listening app that you're listening to.
Yeah.
If it's Apple, you should leave a review. Thank you. But yeah, I guess my recommendation for the week would definitely have to be to go see Parasite.
Yes.
Yeah, like I knew
that was coming.
I wasn't going to do a movie, but like it was just that good. And you should go with someone if you can. If you can't,
I don't have a boyfriend.
It's fine.
No,
I
go see movies by myself all the time.
Oh, it's so much fun. I went with my friend Ariana, and bruh,
cute.
Oh my god, it was so good. We just we left and we were like, what did we just watch? But I definitely...
Is it like scary? Or
no, it's just like I literally, it's a family that really infiltrates into a family, but there's so much layering to it. Mm-hmm. And you just have to go in with no idea. Because I watched a little bit of a trailer, but I didn't watch a lot. Uh-huh. And I've been hearing about ravings about it from Carson Rehnquist, and then he's a content creator, and then Let Me Explain, he's a content creator on YouTube, and they both do movie stuff.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, and I honestly am I really am maybe I should go to Sundance or a film festival next year. So I think I'm gonna look into that. I know that Knoxville has one in the fall, but I think I'm gonna look into maybe going to TIFF. Yeah, maybe TIFF, because it premiered at TIFF, and
cool.
It was really, really good. I think I could make it work too, because if you I've watched some videos in regards to how people did it, and it is possible to do if you find people who are interested in that stuff. So maybe I'll look into that. But I would recommend that movie. I would also recommend just water as well, which I guess you might be why water? I think I'm not dehydrated, but I said, I had a mixer on Thursday, and then I went to Pour, which is a bar in our city, and I just feel very dehydrated.
I'm looking at your water bottle. Yeah. Is it hydrate or dehydrate?
Yeah, so I feel dehydrated. So Jessica recommended last week, always carry a water bottle with you and drink water. And
get your skin
facilitate conversations. Yes. It doesn't even have to be
that's your challenge.
That is honestly challenge of the week.
One hard.
Yeah, goal of the week. Yeah, goal of the week. I challenge y'all
I need to do that. I know exactly who
facilitate a conversation with someone in regards to something that you're curious about, whether that is intersectionality, whether that is gender, whether that is sexuality, or even too it could be religion, because I feel there's a lot in regards to going on in the news with the impeachment inquiry and all that stuff, which is also another can of worms that we're not gonna do today. But I would just say the goal is challenge yourself to just have a conversation about certain things. Sometimes I'm curious about my friends and how things are for them, and I know sometimes I said I'm an open book, so I can get lost in my own sauce. So I think I'm gonna also take on that challenge.
Yes.
But challenge you.
Me too.
Start the conversation.
Yay.
Yeah.
This was so much fun.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I literally, if you want to come back on, we will do it.
Just text me.
I will.
Tell me time.
Oh, I will.
Time and date.
I will. Okay, that is it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, follow all the social media down below. hers, Clara's, will be under the description as well.
Yay.
And leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Okay, see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.